famous words of Mike Keith, touchdown Titans. Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, has probably said touchdown Titans too many times to count. The Titans are one of 32 NFL teams today, and they represent the state of Tennessee. I've been a lifelong Titans fan since I was born, even wearing Titans diapers as a child. Please listen and enjoy as I explain the fascinating history of the Tennessee Titans, which includes its creation, relocation, and most memorable moment. Let's start where the franchise began. The Titans were originally named the Houston Oilers and formed with the creation of the American Football League, or the AFL, in 1960. On Sports Feel Good Stories, the writer wrote about the importance of the AFL, stating, "It was really the first league to have considerable success against the NFL." The Oilers were quite good whilst they were a part of this league, winning the first AFL championship in 1960 and then repeating their championship in 1961. The Oilers were one of 8 original teams and owned by a man named Bud Adams. Greg Rosenthal, the NFL's current main editor, wrote about some of the accomplishments Bud had before he passed away. Adams was a World War II veteran who presided over more wins, 409, than any current NFL owner. Adams' teams made the playoffs 21 times. The Oilers were brought over to the NFL in 1970 with a part of the AFL-NFL merger. This came as a result of the NFL being upset with the AFL moving into its territories and cities. The History Channel elaborates on the topic of the merger and explaining the guidelines. Under the new merger agreement, on June 8, 1966, the league would be the NFL and split into 2 conferences, the NFC and the AFC. Luckily, the Oilers were not too heavily affected by this and were able to stay in the city of Houston. However, during the upcoming years, including the 1991 and 1993 season, where the Oilers were division champions, it was mostly a disappointment. After the merger, the Oilers relocated to Nashville, Tennessee. The Titans weren't always in Nashville, and you might be asking, how does a team just up and move its city? This cannot only be done with one team. Hugh Linnett, popular writer and voice of San Diego, in his article on how the NFL regulates relocation states, with 75% of the league's 32 teams needed for approval, it would only take 9 no votes to deny a move to another city. The Titans and Oilers are truly the same team, just relocated from Houston to Nashville. Some might also wonder why the Oilers relocated to Nashville. KTRK, the local ABC news station, and for the city of Houston, elaborated on this topic. By the time 1995 came around, the Oilers came off a league worst record and a full-on rebuild. It surely did not help that Bud Adams dipped his toe during this time in the city of Nashville. Things were bright for a moment in Tennessee after the relocation. Tennessee, in 1999, after the formal name change, went on to making a Super Bowl. During this Super Bowl playoff run, the most memorable Titans play of all time occurred, the Music City Miracle. The Music City Miracle is a play that sent the Titans past the AFC wildcard game against the Buffalo Bills, where former player Mike Dyson ran in a kickoff touchdown in the final moments to win the game. Mike Keith, voice of the Tennessee Titans radio station and well-loved by fans on an interview, explained how the Music City Miracle got its name. A young man calls our post-game show and he goes, "This is the greatest day of my life." I said to him, "You'll remember this day for the rest of your life because this was the day you witnessed the Music City Miracle." Not only was this play important in the moment of winning the game, that led to the Titans competing for that championship ring. To sum it up, today I've shown you the history of the Tennessee Titans, from its creation to its relocation, and lastly, for its reason of fascination. The Titans have had a rocky history, but I know the future will be smoother. Let me leave you with this today. Tighten up.